Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how I edit the Aesthetic Marketing Systems newsletter, the 8-page newsletter each month from the content that's provided. Now the content that's provided will come in a folder, so it could come in a zip folder, and I'll have all the pictures, all the promotions, any PDFs that need uploading, and the actual notes themselves. So this is the notes that you want to open, and then this is what we're going to follow along with and see that we've put in. I usually put in like the front for the front page. Heading means this will be the heading, and then here's all the copy. Now you might find that some of the copy goes across the page, other times it goes down the page like this. It's just because I haven't bothered to move it around. You can do that when editing the newsletter. If there's like things like these double lines in, that doesn't mean to say I want those double lines in. It's just where I've copied and pasted it from. So in this case, I don't want double lines in. That's probably more of a headline that wants to stick out. So it probably wants bolding as opposed to putting the double lines in. And then you've got an article, and you can see I say use the pics, so you can pick the pics up from the folder, etc., etc. So we'll work through it. Again, don't put these lines in. We don't need these lines. It's just the way I copied and pasted it into here. And then you'll see all the different articles. And then we get all the promotions, where you can see the monthly events, the weekly events, other considerations. And here's the daily promotions that need copying in, and some additional promotional copy here. And then we've got the back page. So I try and keep it simple each month, and this is just going to save me a few hours of having to edit the newsletter itself. So we're going to work through this this worksheet and start putting everything into the newsletter. Now I always take the last month's newsletter as the template that I use for this current month. So I'm doing February now as an example, and I'm taking January's template. And the first thing I do is open up this in Publisher. I'll make it a little larger so I can play with it easier, and then I take all the elements off that were relevant to the last month, which was Happy New Year. We're now working on the February issue. This was the January issue, so I'm going to delete any elements out of here, just highlight them and delete them because it's not what I want to see. It's just basically the first thing I usually often just flick through the newsletter and see if there's any of those here, Happy New Year. I just go ahead and delete them out just to tidy the newsletter up. Now, as you can see, the newsletter keep the same elements. All we do is change the color of these backgrounds and change the color of the heading and change the color of the stars and change the color of these big basically headlines in these big boxes. We change the background colors in these boxes. We often change the color of the resource box of these, but keep these same headings. Don't remove these headings. See, this particular page for the promotions, this is a template of style. Don't change this, just change the content. So change the days, change the content, but don't change the design. So we're going to work through each one. So we obviously have a new headline. Let me just make this a bit larger. But I change all the colors at the end. That's usually the last thing that I do. So I think this goes on to this. You see, this particular article is the first page and the second page here, and goes on to the third page. And I always then sign it off with my signature and stuff, as you can see here. Always gets signed off by me, and then we go into the following article, and this just says continued on to page 3, which is here. So the first thing I usually do is change this, which this is going to be February, and this is going to be February and National Time Management Month. I'm just going to make this a bit larger so I can see it. National Time Management Month. Now this has disappeared behind, so we're just going to stretch it out a bit so it now fits on that. So we've got February 2012 National Time Management Month. So we're going to put some clocks and things on here. With it being Time Management Month, we'll put clocks and things like that on to jazz it up. So I'm going to take the copy out of here. So actually I'm just going to take from here, I'm just going to remove all the copy. You see, just remove all the copy, just delete it all. So now we've deleted all the copy on the front page, the second page, and then we're going to the third page. Well, I don't know whether this first page copy, this headline, get it done, and all this copy here is going to go on to 1, 2 or 3 pages. I've no idea yet. So what I typically do is the headline is get done. So I'll just copy that headline there and go on to the first page. I'm just going to highlight that and I'm going to copy over it, get it done. Okay, so that's that, but put the quotes back in. Now I can make that a bit bigger because it's not stretching across the whole of the front there. So I might just, in this case, just make that a bit bigger. See, 36. I think that's probably sufficient there. And then let's go and copy. I would just probably copy down to this wow. No, probably a bit further. Let's just go down to here to start with. So I don't have to take the whole thing because that might just go onto the front page. So then I'll just highlight over this and paste it in. And you see that it's stretched it all out and it's gone all over the place and it's all gone like this. Well, that's fine because we have to then start cleaning it up. So I always have the first usual paragraph in bold. So I'm going to just take this bit and I'm going to put that in bold, and then I always take that first letter, which I just highlight there, and right click and go to change text, drop cap, and choose that particular one. And so then it's just formatted it just how you see I do my. So there. If you have ever, well, there's a spelling mistake there, but we always catch those later. If you, and there's 2 U's, so we just take that out. Okay, so if you see some obvious things that need changing, just take them out. And then as you can see, it's all formatted and needs all tweaking, and that's why I will then go and clean up the copy. See, it's gone double lines, where we've got to highlight it, then put in a space, start moving things around. We don't want these double lines, so we take them out, start tidying up the copy. And we can't have too many paragraphs because we take up too much space, so we often have to get it all spaced in nicely. Now I'm just going to have to go through this first page, and then I'm going to go on to this second page, tidy up this copy. You know, this is no good. You've got to tidy it all up. We can't have it like this. But I don't have it in 2 columns, it's just 1 column. I make my life simple. I just use the same template as the last month and just make these little changes. And then it keeps it simple. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then I'm going to go and copy and paste the rest of this article in here and see where it gets us to. So I'm just going to pause this and come back. You can see here that as I'm copying and pasting, it's all going down in this little thin column, but that's fine. You have to just keep going, and that's because we've copied and pasted it out of Notepad. But we have to keep just tidying this up by moving all the copy up, using our back button and our delete button, and getting everything moved up. So I'm going to continue doing this to tidy it all up, and I'm also going to then reread it through and see if we need to make any little adjustments, how it reads. What I don't ever like is to see things like this. Think about the answer and it goes on to 2 lines. If we can avoid that, just drop by shift and enter, just drop like this. I don't like this way it breaks the word up. I like them if we can to like here. I don't particularly like that, so we just shift and enter and it just drops it onto the next line. So I'm going to work through all of this. This doesn't look right. You see here where it says become a less time and become a as efficient. So that should be as, and this should be efficient. So there, as efficient. So I don't like that. It looks a bit funky, you see there. So I would do some moving around of the copy here. But just play around with it, and I've got to tidy all this up first. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and then come back. You see here, I come to those lines now, which they were just picked up from wherever I copied and pasted this from. But I'll just take those out, and then because this was between the lines, this is probably going to be a heading, so we'll probably go ahead and just bold that. But I can make some of those adjustments at the end. Things like 1, 2, 3, I always like to bold those. This is how it picks up bullets by putting this little star. But I would highlight those and actually use the bullet function here and put proper bullets in if we can, but I don't think it's allowing us to, so I'll probably just stay with the stars and just bold them just for simplicity. Okay, but we could maybe indent that just by using this indent feature. Yeah, that looks a bit better, but just again I'm going to just keep tidying this copy up. Now I'm still putting the text into this first article, and just it looks like we're going to have to spread onto the 3rd page here. So what I do in preparation, just leave all the pictures. I just take out that copy, but leave in the signature bit at the bottom. So I'll just delete that. And then to see what copy's left, I can just drag this, see this little text box here, just get the double arrow, and then just drag it down. And I can see how much text is going beyond, see? I can see how much more we got, so I can just drag that down just to see how much more text we have. So I'm just going to take that. Where's the end of it? Well, I think that is the end. Okay, so I think that's probably the end of the article. I'm going to just take that content to there, just copy that, then I'm going to delete it out, and then I'm going to drop this back up to finish this box off. There, and then I'm going to copy the text, paste the text into here, and this is saying that it's going beyond the box and I want to auto flow, so I'm going no, because I'm going to tidy it up again. I'm just going to keep tidying it up and hopefully it'll fit in here. I'm just going to pause until I do that. Okay, so I'm probably about 10 or 15 minutes into adding this first article to the first page, but I've dropped all the copy and I've got 2 columns on here on the first page. It's run onto the second page, which goes all the way across, and it's run a bit into the 3rd page. Sometimes they go onto the first page till about here, and then we can start our second article. Sometimes they take the first page and the second page, and then sometimes my opening articles take the first, second, and a bit of the 3rd. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work through and read it and see if I've got all my paragraphs in the right place, my words, this sort of stuff I don't like the look of, and just tidy it up, tidy up the copy, make sure I've got paragraphs in the right place, Maybe some of these paragraphs I've got to tighten up a bit, drop words. I can make these headlines a bit bigger. So I'm just going to play around with that now and just tidy it up and see how it looks. Okay, so I've gone and tidied that up now. Probably about 15-20 minutes into this. Just make it a bit larger so we can see it. And I've basically worked through it, made paragraphs where I feel paragraphs should be. I've bolded things and italicized stuff, broken the paragraphs up, created headlines. Do your best with this. Look at the copy and do your best. I see that that wants to go to the left one slightly. Question, a bolded, italicized. This is a bit subjective, but see what you can do. And that nicely fits the copy onto the first page. Then we go on to the second page. And we can see the copy flowing through, highlighted stuff, bolded stuff, underlined things. And these URL links are always in this specific blue and at least 14 point bold, not underlined, just bold, 14 point at least minimum in this bright blue, which is rather like the blue of clickable links online. And then we go on to the third page and we finish here. So what I would do then is just what we have. Well, let me just say something. One thing I haven't done is alter the template at all. I've not changed anything around on the home page. I've just replaced the headline. I've just put the copy in the two columns, ran it over onto the second page, in this case onto the third page. I've not changed the template at all. I can still use this continued on page 3, and all I'm going to do is drop this. I'm just going to highlight this whole thing so I can move this headline up a bit to probably there. I will change out the picture. We'll probably fill this with some sort of interesting graphic which is based around National Time Management Month, and then this will be our next article in here. We'll put something in there. Now what I normally do once I've done the first page, I then go and probably do the last page. So let me just go and look for the back page copy. Why people buy and how to sell it to them. So I'm just going to copy the headline, and I'm not going to change the font at all. I'm just going to drop it in exactly the same. I don't want to change the font. Why people buy and how to sell it to them. ... And I'm just going to take all the copy that was created for this back page, and I'm going to just highlight over this and drop it in. And you can see that it's gone far longer than the page, which is fine. I don't know what font size this is, 9. I think we'll just bump it up to 10 because I think that will probably fit in. Now, I'm not going to change the font at all. I'm just going to make it larger so we can see, and now I've got to tidy it up again. So I can just start dropping, just tidy, and then we can go and start looking at the paragraphs, but it just needs all tidying up so it's all justified and on the right lines. This I don't like, so you go shift enter to drop it down, drop that back up. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep tidying this up and see how much space we've got left. Okay, I've got all the copy in here now. Let's just have a look at the page. So in 9 font, the heading I haven't really had to change at all, although what I did do is capitalize and then make these caps just to emphasize the buy and the sell, and capitalize the first letters of each word. But this is 9-point font and it just fits in perfectly. If it didn't, then I'd probably reduce the font no lower than 8. But usually I'm trying to get articles for the back page that usually fit. I've not changed the fonts, I've not changed the picture, I've just dropped it in. And then I just need to start working down it and looking for things like this, selling luxury, where I just want to drop that onto the next line. and then I might start looking at bolding. See, this just doesn't look to give. Them cells should be back on that page, but then this happens, so we want to drop that onto the next page. Just tidying up the copy, making sure it all looks right here, and drop that onto the next page. So I'm just going to go through that, and then that's the way that you would send it to me. And then if I want to bold things or italicize things, it makes my life a lot quicker and simpler, because most of the work's done. I can just quickly go through, highlight things, bold things, underline things, etc., because 90% of the work has been done. Okay, but as I say, I've not changed the font, I've not changed anything, I've not changed the structure of the page, I've left everything as it is. I'll drop different new photos in, you don't have to worry about that. Make life easy. Okay, next what I usually do is then go to the drip target marketing campaigns and then start working this page. But again, don't change the structure of the page. There's certain things that we change and copy and paste and delete out of here, but don't change the structure, because people are used to looking at it this way. So I'm just going to make it a bit larger and just work top for bottom. We'll probably put a new picture in here. I'm just going to leave this exactly the same. All this top part stays the same, but here we change this because we've got March promotions. So we've got 2 promotions for March, and when you look in the package, the 2 promotions are procrastination promotion, and we have Sherlock Holmes promotion. So you'll see what the promotions are, but in this case for March, we've got the procrastination promo, and we've got the Sherlock Holmes promo. Okay, so if any are pre-done promotions, blah blah blah, these alternatives for, and then we change that to the 2 following months, so that would be February and March. Just change the those to a month ahead, and then we basically just copy and paste our new content to these 4 areas. Now what I do is, this has got January, so that although this is we've got January here, so we're going to change that to February, and basically February's weekly events, which are here, we put over into this area, and then we put into March monthly events, March weekly events, March daily events. Okay, but we always put the last month's weekly events in here. So this will change to February weekly events. This will change to March monthly events, March weekly events, March daily events, and I'm going to copy and paste these here, because these were February's, into February here. Just copy and paste them. I don't want it to do any overflow, so I click no. I'm just going to tidy that up by just dropping it so it blocks it underneath each other, just to save a bit of space. Okay, so that is February's weekly events finished in here, but we have to change this content out, so I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to put in our new content out of our text document here. Should we go and find the promotions? Here we go. Here's the promotions for this in the month. We just copy those and drop them in here. Now again, it's done all this auto flow. I click no, it's underlined them and messed around with them, look, and messed up all our settings, but I just go ahead and unbold them, underline them here, because this is overflowed from this column into this column. That's what this overflow mark means. but I'm just going to take those out, and then I'm going to backspace and then shift and enter to drop them underneath each other. So backspace, shift, enter, and I'm going to do that with each one. So I finished adding those in here. I just had to push this up one line, and then in this column you can see that it's not level, so we're just going to push that up a bit, and that looks like an N instead of an M, so I'm just going to change that to an M. And these are the old months weeklies, so we're going to have to put the new weeklies in, which we see weekly events here from our text file. So I'm just going to copy all those, and I'm going to paste them over the top of this one. Again, this auto flow deals come up, I click no, it's bolded them all, so I just go ahead and unbold them, and then start doing the formatting again. In this case, I do leave a line between. I'm going to bold first week, second week, third week, fourth week. Okay, and I'm just going to check the correction of that. So then we get to the March daily events, and we can see we've usually got a daily event every day. So you've got March 1, 2, 3, 4. What you typically find is you only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days on this page before we have to continue on page 5. So knowing that, I'm just going to pick one. I'm just going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to pick up 6 and see if we can fit those into that page. Just going to highlight over, paste in. We've got this auto flow deal going on. I'm just going to pull that down so I can see how much copy I have to fit into here, and it looks to me, let's just unbold it all. This is just tricks of what I've learned to make my life easier. I'm just going to position it so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to get the 6 on, so I'm just going to take the 6 out, and that's going to have to go onto page 5, and then I'll just close the page back up, and then I go ahead and bold the date for each one, and then I'm just going to check the spacing on everything, and then we're going to go and continue putting them into page 5. So just to recap the promotions page, I pretty much left the top the way it was, put in what the specific March promotions are, changed the 2 dates in here to the following 2 months, put the February's weekly events in here, put the new March monthly, the new March weekly, the new March daily into here, and then I've checked. I can see there's a spelling mistake there, awareness, but we'll pick up on those later. But I've just checked and dropped things onto new lines, got everything nice neatly in. Headlines are all level, everything fits in neatly. Now we'll continue on from March the 5th on page 5, and that's where again I don't change anything. I just leave this the same, although we'll change the colors of these headlines. This is more daily promotion ideas for March. So all I do is change that to March, making my life easy. And then I'm going to drop them in here. And then the other considerations. So I'm going to take the 6 onwards and see what we can fit into here. I'm going to take the 6th to the 31st. So I've just basically highlighted the promos from the day 6 to the 31st, and I'm going to copy. I'm going to see if they're going to fit into here. In fact, I bet they don't, so I'm going to actually copy all of this and paste it in. So I'm just highlighting and pasting in, doing this auto flow thing. I just click no again, and now I've got to tidy it up because I'm put 1 on each line. So you've got March the 6th, Wednesday, March the 7th. We've got a space here, so I'm going to put that. I'm going to go backspace, Control Enter, drop it down. I'm going to go through every one, backspace, Control Enter, backspace, Control Enter. I'm going to just work down this, and then I'm going to bold each one of the dates. So I'm just going to go ahead and neaten that up now. So I've just actually completed this now. We've got, following on from page 6, I've now got everything listed. I've bolded the date on each one. Let's just zoom in so you can see. Everything looks neat and tidy. And I also got the other considerations to focus on. And then I'm into my next article, and I've got the headline here. So let's just have a look where we're at so far. Looks like we've got the front page, second, part of the third. We have to put something into here. So at this stage I start seeing what space we've got left and what articles I've got to put in. We've got this complete. I've got resources. I've got to put something down here in the bottom right. Complete stuff here. This page is complete. This page has to have something in, page 7, back page is done. So I basically have a look at what articles I have on here and see what's going to fit into the space that I have left. That's basically the exercise I do now. So let's have a look. I'm going to flick through here and see what I might fit where. But that's the idea. So I'm just going to have a look and then see what we're going to put in. I'll just conclude this and just say this is end of part 1 of how to edit the Aesthetic Marketing Systems monthly 8-page newsletter, and then go into watch video part 2. But this is about half an hour, so this is part 1, and now we're going to go on to part 2.